Okay, so you got the new job or you received a promotion. But now you're realizing there are some things you just didn't know. There are some things you just were not prepared for. You may have underestimated how difficult it would be to manage a new staff, or maybe your ideas just aren't being as well received as you expected them to be. Now, you can choose to deal with this reality in a variety of ways. You may fall into this first category. You may be someone who chooses to shrink back and feel like a imposter or a fraud. And this will probably result in you becoming overly deferential in your new position because your confidence is shaken. But deep down, you know that this is causing you not to show up as the leader that you know you were called to be. Or maybe you might fall into the second category. You may find yourself becoming hyper aggressive because your insecurities are at an all-time high. You're snapping at your staff if they dare to question anything that you say, and you're constantly reminding them that you're the boss. The reality is, girl, your insecurities are showing. Or you may respond to this reality and fall into this third category, and you may just determine that, hey, I've always gotten by on my charisma and my captivating smile. And you may just determine that's how I'm going to get through this. No, I may not be qualified, but I'm going to use my charisma, my smile, my personality to get by. But see, doing that is leaving you a little uneasy. After every meeting, after every project, you're just breathing a sigh of relief because you're feeling like, okay, I avoided being exposed. And so you're never just comfortable at your job. You're just always fearful that you're going to be found out to be all talk with no substance. You're going to be found out to be an empty suit. Well, look, the reality is you don't have to settle for any of these options. You don't have to remain an imposter. You can actually stop faking it and become the real deal. You can show up in this new job, in this new promotion, in this new role with confidence and ease. But your first step in becoming the real deal is starting to develop a growth mindset. Believe it is possible for you to move from being someone who isn't quite prepared for this new position to being someone who is thriving in this new position. See, in previous videos and shorts, I've talked about cultivating a growth versus fixed mindset. And if you're unfamiliar with this concept of growth versus fixed mindset, I encourage you to look back at those videos. But what I want to emphasize in this video is that if you find yourself in a new role, in a new position that you're not quite comfortable with, or you feel ill-prepared for, the first thing you need to do to overcome that imposter feeling is to choose to believe you can grow and you can change. Believe it. You can become a better manager. You can learn to be an inspiring leader. You can grow in your knowledge of a particular subject. You can become a good public speaker if that's what's needed for you to be successful in this job. Make the decision to believe you can grow. You can do better. But I do want to acknowledge that if you are in a space where choosing to believe, choosing to really think that change is possible just feels a bit overwhelming right now because you feel like you've been so stuck and stagnant in certain areas for so long. So for example, you feel like, well, I've never been a good public speaker, or I've never been great with getting along with people. I've never really been a charismatic person. Or maybe you feel like I've always kind of had to rely on my charisma to get ahead because I've never been looked at as being the smartest person or the most skilled person. This is just who I am. If you're feeling like that and adopting the belief that you can really change and you can become this great manager, this inspiring leader, you can become better with people, if that's too much for you to accept and believe right now, start by simply believing you can grow. You can get better. If it's too much for you to think that you can become a radically different person, just choose to believe I can become better. I can grow. See, the thing is, if you consistently keep doing anything for an extended period of time, you will improve. You will see growth in that area. For example, I have not played basketball since I was in high school and on the high school basketball team, right? So it's been a long time. But if I commit to shooting 15 shots every day for the next 30 days, I will see growth. Now, it's highly unlikely that I'll become the next Steph Curry and be as good of a shooter as Steph Curry is, but I can see growth if I just consistently get outside or go to the gym and just put up a certain number of shots each day. I can see growth. Anything that you do consistently over a period of time, you will see improvement, you will see growth. So if it's too difficult for you to believe that you can be radically changed into this incredible leader or manager, just start off by simply believing I can grow. I can improve in this area. My intelligence, my skills, they are not fixed. I can grow. That is really the beginning of a growth mindset. And adopting and really taking on a growth mindset is going to be key to you becoming the real deal and stop just staying at being an imposter and struggling with imposter syndrome. So the next step is once you have chosen to adopt and fully embrace a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, the next thing for you to do is to develop that growth plan. Now, growth plan, it just simply outlines what are your goals? What are the strategies and tactics that you're going to execute and implement in order to achieve those goals? So the first thing you want to do when developing a growth plan is one, clearly define how you want to grow. So you can say, I want to grow in the area of holding my poor performers accountable, right? I want to grow in the area of holding my staff that are underperforming more accountable so that it doesn't become like a bad apple that spoils the whole entire bunch, that these few poor performers, because I'm not holding them accountable, start to rub off on everyone. That's the area that I want to grow in. Or you may say, I want to grow in my knowledge on a particular subject. Or you might determine that you want to grow in your ability to facilitate meetings more efficiently. Whatever it is, the first step is to clearly define how you want to grow. Once you're clear on your goal, what you want to grow in, start identifying the tactics and strategies you're going to use to grow. So you can say, okay, now that I know how I want to grow, my strategy or the tactic that I'm going to deploy is that I'm going to read the following books on that particular topic. Or I'm going to seek out mentorship or coaching on that particular skill. Or every Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 9:45, I'm going to read or watch a video on that particular topic. Those are the ways that you're determining, okay, I know how I want to grow, and these are the things that I'm going to do in order to facilitate that growth. So that's the second thing. Get clear on the strategies and tactics you're going to implement to help facilitate your growth. The third thing in your growth plan, or the third thing that your growth plan needs to include, is you need to determine what supports or accountability you will need to execute this plan. So, do you need to start working with a coach? Do you need to identify an accountability partner? What support or accountabilities do you need? The fourth element of your plan is you need to develop a timeline. I think it's always good just to have a timeline or a period of time that you're going to commit to implementing these strategies so that you can look back and see, is this working? How am I growing? Do I want to grow more quickly? Do I like the pace in which I'm growing? Do I continue or what? So you may want to say, for the next 6 weeks, for the next 90 days, for the next 6 months, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z in order to grow in this, and that area. This is a part of a growth plan. So once you've developed your growth plan and you're implementing it, take time to celebrate your progress. As you grow, because you're implementing your growth plan, you're executing your growth plan, you will become more confident, which will allow you to operate in your new position or your new role with a higher degree of confidence and ease, so that you're not becoming hyper defensive or overly deferential, or you're not walking around constantly being afraid of being exposed. Okay? So the first thing you need to do when attempting to overcome imposter syndrome is develop this growth plan. I've given you the 4 elements of a growth plan. Be clear on what goals you want to accomplish. Make sure that you have the tactics and strategies to accomplish those goals. Third, determine what supports or accountability you will need to execute the plan. And then lastly, determine for how long are you going to be doing these things. And then just evaluate and celebrate your progress. All right, so you have one of the first steps to becoming the real deal and moving from struggling with imposter syndrome. If you want to find out more about how to overcome imposter syndrome, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be giving other tips on how to move from becoming someone who is an imposter, someone who is kind of faking the funk, to becoming the real deal. So subscribe, like the video, share with a friend who you know is maybe in a new role, in a new position, and they could use this video because you know that they're dealing with imposter syndrome. Okay, see you next video.